NIC.
Hey everybody, this is Brett with Indie Comics Dispatch and Head Nerds in Charge, and I am very excited to be here today with Jason Michael Primrose of the Lost Children of Andromeda. How you doing, man?
What's up? How's it going? It's a
Good,
Sunday.
good.
I
It is
actually
a
know what day
Sunday.
it is.
I feel the same way. This like ever since Christmas has been done, like things have been a blur, I feel like, and January's been forever long and short all at the same time.
January has flown by for me. I just
Really?
like, yeah, I can't believe I didn't even realize it was the end of January until you just said that. I was like, oh, we still have like a week left, right? No, it's
I
over. It's done.
wish.
It's done.
Oh, it's done. So welcome to the show. You're a little bit different guest for us because we typically have comic book creators, but you're a comic book fan and creator of your own right. So tell us a little bit about yourself and what you got going on, and then we'll jump into specifics in a minute.
I'm Jason. I live in LA. Um, let's see. I'm 36. If anybody could tell. And I write novels. I've been writing since I was a kid. I always loved reading novels, and so I think that's how I decided to write novels. But I also always loved comic books too. I just maybe I didn't think that I could write a comic book. I don't know, but um, but I love all that stuff. I love movies, TV, comics, novels, like anything that gets me in my imagination and like out of the real world. I'm down for. So yeah, that's me in a nutshell. I'm I wouldn't say like I'm a huge nerd and that I consume a lot of nerd things, but like I still pretend I have superpowers. So like I'll just play pretend like I don't care. I just like to have fun.
That's awesome. That's awesome. I love it. I love it. So you have a book out already. Tell us about that. Tell us about the Kickstarter surrounding that, your first book in the Lost Children of Andromeda series, and then we'll get to what's coming next.
Awesome. So Zosma, my baby, my child. Which direction? There we go.
There you
Right
go.
there. Right there. Zosma is my first baby, and I wrote it. It took me about 2 years, and I did the Kickstarter in 2018. I was supported by a lot of friends and family, just overwhelming amounts of support in me pursuing my passion. And I funded that at a $31,000, which was really incredible. And we sold about 1,000 copies of Zosma to date,
Wow.
which is really, really, really amazing. Like, I mean, I think, yeah, it's just like wild. Um, and so I'm so grateful for all the people that supported that Kickstarter because it allowed me to print books, do marketing, do trailers, redo the website, like things like that, and even create a soundtrack for Zosma, which is available on all streaming platforms. So you can go and listen to excerpts from the book, and then it also has music that is
That's really cool.
companion to those specific pieces. Um, so yeah, that's
Yeah, I've said it
Zosma.
before, but with comic books, I love it when creators either create a soundtrack or pick songs to go along with it, that while you read it, because it just adds to that immersive experience of it that you're reading something somebody put out there and also listening to the sounds they wanted you to hear while you read it. I just think that's so fucking awesome.
Thank you. Yeah,
Nope.
the what sparked it for me was that I really love listening to film score music when I'm writing because it really like opens up my brain.
Yeah.
And so I was like, well, like, wouldn't you want to do that when you're reading too? Because it was just like, you know. So like I don't know if you ever listened to like League of Legends has some really dope music. Obviously Hans Zimmer.
Hmm.
Um, there's this group called Audio Machine, I think it is.
Hmm.
There's a few, but like I'm freaking obsessed. Like I literally like listen to all these things all the time, and I listen to that more than even like any other type of music. I listen to film score music a lot.
I'm so glad to hear that because like my wife actually makes fun of me for listening to like soundtracks and film scores because she's like, "Who listens to that? Who buys that?
Um,
Who puts that on a playlist?" And
oh
my
my
oldest
god.
daughter and I both are like, "We do."
We do. We do. It's fun. Like, oh my gosh. Yeah.
It is. I love it. And you're right. It's so inspirational and gets those juices flowing. So let's
Well,
break. Go ahead. What?
yeah, no, no, go
I
ahead.
was just gonna say let's break down Zazma and the world of the Lost Children and kind of give people a sense of what's going on there.
Yes. Okay. So the world of lost children in my head is like so big. It's a universe. So like I'm like, okay, let me like press it down to something digestible. So let's just start on Earth, where we have evolutionary, super powered individuals um, that are in Zosma. They're trying to stop an alien refugee from being exploited, her energy being exploited and used to take over the world. In 2050 Z, do we want to talk about that yet, or we want to wait?
Go for it. Let's go for it. It's fine.
Okay. Okay. So, in Zosma, so Zosma does follow Alistair and the same characters as they're looking for Zosma. And I really love that book because it's kind of it's in the middle, right? It's like we're in the middle of everything that's happening, um, and it's like a little bit more fast paced
Hmm.
and like a lot of action. Um, I found that 2050Z is a prequel to what happens in Zosma. So
Mm.
you really get to meet all the characters and like see how they got where they are. But it still starts in the middle because it starts with Alistair's journey into like discovering his abilities and using them to stop the apocalypse. So in the first book, we're trying to stop the apocalypse.
Nice. That's awesome. So 2050Z is actually a prequel. I do want to shout out Jerry from E4 Comics real quick. He's watching on YouTube. He says
Oh
Jason is
yeah,
awesome. He took time to help me a bit with my Kickstarter. Much appreciated. See, I'm telling
Jerry
you
is so
guys,
dope.
Jason is a fan of comics and a helper of the indie community. So, um, okay. So 2050Z is coming to Kickstarter like tomorrow, right?
Literally
Like
tomorrow. Yeah,
literally
literally tomorrow.
tomorrow. So,
Yes.
um, it's a prequel of Zazma. Um,
Yeah.
and so for people that are just totally not familiar, what's some it's obviously science fiction genre, but what are some books that maybe it's similar to kind of give them a taste of what the world of the Lost Children is?
Yeah. So I would say that as a whole, like the whole universe, because I'm telling you, like I'm going, we're like not gonna stay on Earth for the whole series. So it definitely goes out into other places. So I would say it's similar to like the character arc storyline of like Children of Blood and Bone, like in terms of
Mm-hmm.
in terms of the hero's journey, and Black Panther, and mixed in with elements of like I don't know, like the dynamics of like Harry Potter and Umbrella Academy and the like expanse of like a Star Wars or like X-Men's
Mm-hmm.
cosmic level stuff. Um,
Very cool.
so that's how I would describe it. It's very like, and it's also very character driven. So you really get to know the characters really well and like their their challenges with their power with their powers.
Jerry Jerry he said Elements, LOL. That's the name of his book.
Yeah.
Jerry.
I know. I'm excited about it. I'm excited about his Kickstarter too.
Yeah, that's going to be fun. There's so many good Kickstarters starting like next month because next month is just a huge month in Kickstarter starter
Yeah,
world.
apparently. I didn't know that. I was like
Yeah,
reading about it, and apparently February is like a huge month to launch
yeah,
Kickstarters.
huge month, huge month.
It's
Wilson Lee from CNS Comics
Wilson.
says Epic Universe. You got your Talasha of the Stars poster up there behind you. That's part of
Yes.
Wilson's universe.
Oh,
What
very
were you going to say,
good.
Jason?
I was gonna say that it's funny because I'm like this isn't my world, right? I'm like this is a universe I'm channeling. It belongs to all of us. As soon as I started writing it, it's now ours.
I
But
like
I
that.
think we're all getting the same information because our stories are us embodying the reclaiming of our abilities. And that's just what's happening to a lot of
Hmm.
people, especially because a lot of the creators that I know, we're in the same age range where we're like millennials that are like, who told us we couldn't be nerds? And who told us we couldn't make things? And who told us we couldn't create? And so now it's like, we're doing all of the things we always wanted to do. And for those 10 years where we were like, oh, we got to go to college, which fine. please go to college. We got to go to college. We got to get regular jobs. Like, and then now we're like, wait a minute, I can do something different. Like, I can do whatever I want. And this kind of like reclaiming of like the heroism and being the hero in your own story, I think is something that's really prevalent. But also the cosmic intervention, this kind of like there's something watching, something influencing like the direction that we're going or
Hmm.
has been. It's I think it's more than like a trope to me. It feels like because it's coming from different voices, I guess maybe that's it too. But it feels like it feels ingrained. It feels like
Yeah.
automatic. Like and this story's been with me for like 20 years, so before it was popular.
Wow. So let's talk about that for a minute. It's been with you for 20 years.
Yeah.
That's as a teenager for you because you said your age earlier. But so
Mm, I
thinking
did do
back to
that.
little boy Jason,
Little boy.
um,
Yeah.
what would little boy Jason
Let's bring
think
this up.
of? That's awesome. Is that
I
your
always bring
journal
this,
from?
yeah. No, this is the first book. This is the book
Oh
that
my
this is the original
gosh.
one. So it was published in 1994, and I had little drawings in here of
That is so
characters, and
awesome.
there are dragons. There will be dragons. You see?
Uh-huh. That is so
Yeah.
cool.
My mom kept this. She's an angel. She sent this to me, and I was like, "Wow! Oh my gosh! I can't believe this!
You need to scan that in and make that like a bonus, like a stretch goal. Like get a free
Oh my
copy
God! Wouldn't that
of
be
the
awesome?
first book.
That's actually not
So
a bad idea.
what would little Jason think of where you're at now? Like what were your goals? What were your hopes and dreams as a little kid? Like what would he think of where you're at now?
I don't even know if little Jason believed that he could make a whole. I mean, I wrote the stories, but I don't think I ever believed they'd be published. I don't think
Wow.
I ever believed that they'd be published. So he'd be like, "What? Oh my gosh! You have like pictures of your own characters and music and animation and you got two books written. Thank you for that because I honestly had never thought about like what little kid Jason would feel, and he'd be so excited, and he'd be like, "What's next? Like, make a comic book," which is happening. Make a comic book, and turn this into a television series and
Hmm.
animation and all of that stuff.
That's so cool. That's so cool. A Dope Girls Comics on Instagram said, "Wow, that's dope about your first book there, that your mom made sure to save." And Wilson says, "Oh yeah, that would be a sweet prize as a stretch goal."
Oh
Um,
yeah. All right.
um, so you said there will be a comic book. We're going to get to that. But how many first before we kind of talk about that a little bit? How many in your mind, how many volumes do you see this story being? Like, do you have that planned out, or is it just going to keep going as long as you're going?
So the book series is 7 books.
Okay.
I think I'm pretty sure it's 7 books. Anything else will be around what happens in the book. So in my mind, I don't see myself taking what happens in the books and turning it into what happens in a comic or something like that.
Hmm.
But I see the comics as being extensions of like ways you can get into the world, other ways, like and learn about other characters that you can't really get into in the novels.
Well, so that was going to be my next question. Were the comics going to be based on the books or otherwise? And so you say that they will expand the universe in a
Yeah,
sense, not just be rehashing of the novel. I love that idea.
yeah.
I love the universe you're creating.
Thank you.
So with the comic book, have you started diving into that yet, or that's in the future? Like you're not there yet.
It's closer than it's closer than I'm ready for. Let's say
Really?
that. I think we're gonna try to get it out by this summer.
Hmm.
Um, so the premise for that is it actually centers around the aliens before they come to Earth. So it's a lot more science fiction. It's like a bit of a different conflict, but you really learn it the main thing I want it to be is this like high powered visual, like, oh my gosh, we're dealing with these like alien races in another galaxy. Um, so visually it'll be like lots of color. I want to do this like kind of vintagey look to it, and
Hmm.
not like old comic book style, but like this. I can't explain it, but I have a mood board for it. but it's very specific, and it doesn't really look like a lot of the comics that are out right now.
Very
Um,
cool.
so it looks a little bit like digital art, but not
Hmm.
actual digital art. So you might have seen like stuff on ArtStation and things like
Yeah.
that,
Yeah.
like that kind of sci-fi look. Um, but yeah, I'll actually send it to you because I think you'll like it, and I
Yeah.
want to see, I want to hear what you think. So yeah, so I'm gonna start writing that. I'll be doing that throughout February alongside getting the Kickstarter funded. So I'm super excited to dive
You're
into
going to
that.
be busy.
I am going to be very busy. Yes, I'm going to be very busy. I
So I'd
like
love
to
to
stay
ask.
busy.
Me too. Me too. So I get that. So I ask this of people who have a novel first and then develop a comic book after that. What is different in the process, or what surprised you in the process so far? Because I realize you're still in that process. But what has been difficult or easy, perhaps, about taking the leap from novel to comic book?
Well, I haven't really done anything yet, so I don't
Okay.
know how hard or easy it will be, but I will say I have to write way less words. So I'm sure that will help a lot. I mean, like way less words. So
You
I
hear
think
that,
that
comic book creators? Write way less words. Sometimes you're putting too much dialogue in there.
I love dialogue in novels, and I
Hmm.
also love world building in novels. So the great thing is that all those paragraphs will get taken up by artwork. So that saves me a lot
Yeah.
of time and energy in editing, like word count costs, because
Nice.
that can be expensive too. Um, but yeah, I think the thing I'm looking forward to. I mean, I already have images of
Mhm.
the characters in the novel, so it'll
Right.
be interactive in that there will be visuals, there will be music, and I'm even putting something else in there that I just decided the other day, and I'm adding questions at the end of the like sections of chapters to
Uh-huh.
like have people like reflect on what happened.
Oh, cool.
So I'm really excited about that. So that's happening. You heard it here first.
Yeah. So
And
almost like a people could get together and do this as like a book club almost even.
yeah, yeah, absolutely. It like builds it in. Yeah,
That's awesome. I love
yeah. So
that.
I'm super excited about that.
Yeah.
Um, and I don't know. I was really inspired by the House of X, Power of X,
Mm-hmm.
um, the graphic novel. I mean, I couldn't put it down. I read through the whole thing, and every page I was like, "Oh my gosh! Oh my gosh! Oh my gosh! This whole book is an experience. Like, what is happening?" And I just loved how they mixed in information and style and like layout. I was like, "Bro, get out of here! Like, this is mental. Like, I can't." Um, so yeah, that really inspired me to like think about like how do I create interactivity where people are like, I'm involved in this experience. It's not just like on the page, you
Yeah.
know?
And so I've had a sneak peek of the Kickstarter page and some of the stuff. So you are creating an experience through this. So let's talk 2050Z and the Kickstarter. What can people expect to see? What are some of the rewards people can expect to get? What's some of that interactivity that you have layered in there?
Okay, so I have I have like a traditional trailer for the content. I also have like a video of like this. And then I did a music video last year that I'm finishing up. So that'll be a piece of content that goes out that's like basically a live action version of the journey
Hmm.
to self discovery, which I'm really excited about. The rewards are we're doing a lot of really cool awards. So we're doing definitely limited edition hardcover, signed. We're letting people get acknowledgments and like have their name in the book, which is something I saw that people do. People can. Um, we're doing bundle packages with Zosma and 2050Z. We're doing posters. Um, what else? Invite to virtual launch party. We're doing. I want to do a vinyl of the soundtrack.
Oh yeah.
So like a vinyl record of the soundtrack with like really cool cover art. So we're gonna do that. We're doing merchandise. So all this was designed by Kieran Anthony Lewis. He's based out of London, and he took some of the images and just like reimagined the text font and like layouts and stuff. So we're doing posters and shirts and posters and shirts designed by him,
Nice.
which would be really cool. What else? I'm trying to think. Oh, and the biggest one, like the best prize, is or the best reward is actually getting written into the series,
Oh wow.
which which one of my really good friends, my cousin did it too, and so I owe him a character. But one of my really good friends did it, and I actually wrote her in. It's meant to be a minor character. She actually ended up becoming the main villain
Oh wow.
in this story, and she's like so like she's people's favorite character. So like think Cersei from Game of Thrones.
Hmm.
Like she's
Hmm.
very like in that like vein of like manipulative and cunning. Um so yeah, I would definitely recommend it because if I really if I really like you, you'll end up becoming like an actual person.
That's really cool.
Like that's ongoing, not just like a walk on. Um, yeah,
Very
and
cool.
I'm
Very
trying to
cool.
think if there's anything else. And of course, the soundtrack and the one of the stretch goals that's like built in is an audiobook. So we would have like an actual audiobook too
Very
as part of
cool.
a prize
Would
pack.
that be you reading or would that be a voice actor reading?
No, we'll do a voice actor until I get my training up. And we're also doing like a Black Power pack, which is like
Uh-huh.
basically Decimation Earth, CNS Comics, um, Street Team, and Concrete, and then 2050Z and Zazuma. So it's like a
Oh
bundle of like
wow.
all of the yeah.
If I didn't have
If
most
we
of that
really want to get
already.
into it, I know. I think some people in my audience like don't know about like they want to get into more indie comics and like
Hmm.
support more creators of color. So this is kind of like, hey, you want to like starter pack? Here you go.
Yeah. That's
Yeah,
a great starter pack.
yeah.
That's a
I
really
wanted
good
to
starter
include
pack.
more people, but I was like, honestly, the logistics of that just
Yeah,
are
it
not
gets
gonna
to be a
go with
lot.
my mind. Yeah.
So let's talk about indie creators right now. Who are some people that you're following that you want to give shout outs to? Either indie publishers like yourself or indie comic book creators or indie artists? Indie, whatever.
Oh my gosh. Honestly, Brett, the list is so long. Like I could literally go on for so long. I did a post with the other day and I like there were like like 15 people on that list. I couldn't even fit them all in the caption. Um, so let's see. I have a lot of my stuff over here, don't I? Yeah, I have all my people over here. Okay. So we can just go down. Wait, I'm going
Hmm.
the wrong direction. Okay. Okay, so up here, you can see we have the Protector Saga by
Uh-huh.
Branson Grant. Let's see if I can you can see that. We obviously concrete though.
Yeah.
I haven't put up my new ones because I'm
Year
reading
two.
them. Yeah, year two because I'm reading them. And then we have can you see this?
Yeah,
Okay.
I can see. Yeah.
Omnidisc by Aaron Bingham. Running Backward, Jeremy Williams. These are both indie authors. Um, we have Impound, of course. Love Impound. That story is amazing. Talasha, my girl, here too. Um, I'm waiting on Godhood Comics to come in, my
Hmm.
Kickstarter from them. I think I have a Kickstarter coming from Iniad Comics too.
Hmm. I just got
Love.
mine like yesterday.
Oh
So.
yeah, it might be here.
Hmm.
I haven't checked the mail in a while. So Eminence, E4,
Yeah.
uh, Black Sands. I have their books. Who else? I just got. There's another one. Oh, um, Elijah. Hold on a second. Let me grab this one. Yes, Elijah Isaiah. He's got a really great book series out. He actually has 3 books out. He's got 2 books and a novella out. Brian Covington is another author that I support and love, and he actually was on my live last weekend.
Hmm.
Both of them were actually, so they're really amazing. I just don't want to forget anybody. Um, I follow Wingless Comics.
Yeah.
I follow Black Moss Comics. Um, I follow Dope Girls Comics, of course. Love Dope Girls Comics. I
She
follow
has her first Kickstarter coming on March 5th, I think she said in the chat. Yeah, March
oh
5th.
yeah. And
Yeah.
then Bristol Media Group, love
Yep.
them as well. I'm so obsessed with Bristol Media Group. They're just the energy is so good.
Yeah.
Um,
Energy describes
and
Maxwell very well.
yeah. And collectively, like the whole crew is like
Yeah.
really dope. And then I'm trying to think. I think that's everyone I can think of. But no, that if I just because I forgot you doesn't mean I don't love you. Just know that was a list for me to remember. Thank goodness I have everybody up back here
Yeah.
to remind me to remind me.
So another question to put you on the spot then. If you're developing this Lost Children of Andromeda comic book series, if you could pick one other creator to do a crossover with, who would it
Ah,
be?
that's not fair. That's not fair. That's not fair because here's why. Because Zazma and Talasha have to meet. Like they have to meet somewhere, somehow they have to meet. Okay,
I like
and
that.
and Alistair and and Acolyte have to
Uh-huh.
meet. So
Okay.
like that, like those. So it's like special. Florence and Odina are for sure like best friends. We already know that. Um, and Absolver and Nightcaster, bro, come on. I mean, there's gonna be so many. There's gonna be so many.
I like it. I like it.
Yeah, I like it. I like it. And then Celine will probably fit in well with Eminent or E4 too because of the elemental piece of it. So
Yeah. Well,
yeah,
very cool.
we
Very cool.
we we gonna be crossing over a lot.
I usually say one because a lot of times people are like, I hadn't really thought about that, and they have to sit there for a minute and think. But you had it ready to go.
I know everywhere. I'm already yeah, I'm already keen on it.
So anybody out there who's maybe wanting to get into indie publishing, indie comic book publishing, just going the indie route because it is much more accessible nowadays with lots of options for publishing your independent book, whether it be comic book or novel. What advice would you give to somebody sitting out there just thinking, should I do this? Is it time for me to do this? How do I do this? What advice would you give them?
Um, I would say start with deciding whether you want this to be your livelihood or a hobby, and then decide if intellectual property is important to you or not, like owning your own intellectual property is important to you or not, or if you just rather create and be a creator. Those are two very different things. Um, when you are building an intellectual property, it's business. So you're running a business, we're creating assets, we're doing contracts, the way we're collaborating, it all needs to be like legal to
Hmm.
protect yourself. Um, and so once you figure those things out, you can decide which path you want to go. And I think that you can go traditional if you want the security and the backing. And if you're a go getter and you want to build it yourself, you go indie because it is a higher climb, like it's steeper, but the payoff is incredible. It's really incredible. Even just the way that you can get content directly to people whenever you want to. Like we don't have to wait for permission from
Right.
anybody to share our work with the audience that we want it to impact. And that's why I chose that route because I got to take Zazma and now 2050Z directly to people who I know will enjoy it.
Very cool. Very cool. Jerry wants to know, how big is your team creating these books? That's a great question, Jerry.
What do you mean? You're looking at
Like,
the whole team. No, I'm kidding. Um, it's me. I mean, it's me writing, but I hire editors to do my writing, and normally I have four different types of editors because there's four different edits that you take a novel through. Um, I mean, there's four different edits you can take any creative property through, but for the sake of novels, I would say there's four.
so what are
Um,
those for? Because I think a lot of people out there, I read a lot of indie books, and I know actually a lot of people out there would benefit from a good editor. So take us through
yeah.
those four different types of edits that your novel goes through.
So the first one is a developmental edit. So someone basically looks at the whole story from like a 30,000 like foot
Hmm.
view and says like, let's look at your arc, let's look at your beats, let's look at your character motivation and things like that. And then they'll give you like an assessment of what you can fix in your novel to make your story more cohesive and like hit
Hmm.
all the beats. That's something I didn't know at first. It's something and it's not something they teach you either anywhere. Like it's something you learn by publishing,
Hmm.
um, or hearing about it from someone else that's gone through it before. But so that's developmental edit, and they give you like editorial assessment. You normally go through two rounds of that, right? They give you the feedback, you rewrite it, they double check and make sure that you were able to fulfill all those things. The third one, which isn't mandatory, so the second one, which is mandatory, is an editorial assessment, which I got after I'd rewritten, just to get a sense of like what else could be worked. And the motivation was something that I got notes back on that for all the characters. And then the third edit is a line edit. And so that's basically like a line by line look at the paragraph and sentence structure to make sure that all the ideas are arranged in the right way and the reader is getting the information in the right order.
Okay.
And then the fourth one is a copy edit, which is basically like a grammatical thing. And then they do a style sheet to show consistencies in like language, the way things are spelled, all of that, so that anyone who picks up the novel can look at that sheet and will be able to know where they shouldn't make changes or should make changes. And then the last one is a proofread, which is not really an edit, but it's a person just that catches the last pieces
Right.
of whatever, so that when you go into formatting, it's like
It's
good to
good to
go.
go. So you guys hear
Yeah,
that out there? He goes through four, we'll say 4.5 edits here.
yeah,
Some
four
of
and a half
y'all need to
edits.
go
Yeah,
through at least one, you know? Hear me out there.
it
Some of y'all need at least one.
it's challenging, and some people don't like to edit their work and they don't want to pay for it. But
Mm-mm.
to me, it's like recording a song and not having a producer. That's
Yep.
like how I would compare it to.
Yep.
And with music, like I always call Zosma my mixtape because I did go through 3 rounds of edits, but it was with the same editor. So
Mm.
there weren't fresh eyes on it. We were doing the same thing, kind of like I would say like in a circle. It's like, hey,
Right.
look at this manuscript as a whole, and then do it again, and then do it again, and then eventually like look at grammar. So there's a big difference. You'll definitely notice the difference in terms of like how 2050Z was written and how Zosma was written. So
Mm.
I always suggest people read 2050Z first because you'll get into the world like a totally different way. But
That's cool.
yeah, so 4.5, definitely 4.5 edits, and at least one. Uh, I have some resources and support. Like I gave a prize away over Christmas for editing services because I know people don't want to pay for
Yeah.
beta readers and editors, and sometimes you can get them for pretty cheap on like Fiverr and stuff like that. So
Mm-hmm.
just having someone look it over that's not your friend or family, but someone that like reads books, knows books, has published books is like always really good. Um, so I had 5 different editors this time,
Wow.
so that's part of the team. I have a composer that I work with out of Germany. The art team is, I think, 2 people. They're in the Philippines, and I also commission art from creators here in America as well when they're available. Because like I reach out to people and they're like, I don't have time for you right now. So I want to do more of that as well, and I'll be hiring a new artist for the comic book. It's not going to be the same people. So I'm excited for that as well. And then what else? I have the digital marketing person that I work with. She's really amazing. And yeah, whatever I need, like I pull in. I had a web developer from Nigeria who's really awesome. Um, yeah, and I like working with people all over the world because it's kind of like the Lost Children of Andromeda. Like everyone's from everywhere. There's like people from all
Yeah.
over the place. So I like bringing in like kind of this like let's let's build a universe together. So yeah, so it's a small team because I'm the one running everything, but it's a big
Right.
team because I'm employing a lot of people.
That's really cool. That's a Bristol Media Group on the Instagram chat says, finishing my developmental editing. I'm headed to line and sentence editing. It's rigorous writing a
Mm,
book, much different. I never realized all the description I don't have to do in comics because my artist does the description with his art.
yeah, so
That's
he's
very
having the
true.
reverse experience of like what I was explaining before.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Um, and yeah, so he's going to development. Yeah, so the line and copy edit can be one thing. It depends on who the editor is, and it is cost
Mm.
effective to do it that way as well. Um, the the line editor that I had was very specific to that.
Mm.
Like she didn't really mess with a lot of the other stuff because it required me to rewrite, so
Mm.
I would mess it up anyways. So I will say that like if you're having a line editor doing your copy edit, if they're giving you notes about the order of things or like things you need to flesh out, because that's what I got in my notes, like, hey, you need to like bring in emotion in this character or a reaction to this thing. Then if they were doing grammar edits too, or punctuation edits too, like those would be messed up because I have
Right.
to write new things.
Rewrite then.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah,
That makes
yeah. So
sense.
that's just a note. It's just a thought.
Well, tell us how can people get notified about the launch of 2050Z? It's
Head to
tomorrow.
the link in my bio. Head to the link in the Lost Children of Andromeda bio, and click the Kickstarter and click get notified, and you'll be notified tomorrow. I'm actually doing a live tomorrow evening for the launch at I believe it's at 6 p.m. Pacific time,
Okay.
and I'll be posting that, and that's when the Kickstarter will go live. It'll be like a telethon, basically. I'll be like, yeah, go pledge, go pledge, go pledge. Um, so yeah, I'm super excited about that.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So how just fill people in fully, how can they follow your work after the Kickstarter? How can they see what you're doing next and follow along? What's your website? Give them everything they need to follow you right now and they're going to
Everything
go
they
do it.
need, everything they need right now. Okay, 2052 ends with Z is the website. That's the like interactive
All
2050Z
spelled out.
website. All spelled out. 2052 ends with Z. That's the joke, is that 2050Z ends with Z, and that was
Yeah.
the yeah. Okay.
I got it.
So
Don't worry. I got it.
okay, you with it. Okay. And then Lost Children of Andromeda at Lost Children of Andromeda. I do Pinterest too, so you can like look at the
I
pictures,
love
and we
that.
do like our favorite books and stuff like that. So Pinterest. And then Instagram. I'm gonna start posting on YouTube too, and I have a Patreon, which I would ask you to support after you support the Kickstarter. I'm kidding. Like a month
Search
after, like once you get everything and you read it, and you're like, yeah,
if I
more.
if I have
Then
the
go to the Patreon.
Patreon app open, what do I search for? Is it Lost Children of Andromeda? Is it
Yes,
Jason
yeah.
Primrose? Okay.
Lost Children of Andromeda, everything. I no longer exist. I am Lost Children of Andromeda. It's just that that's all it is.
That's who you are.
That's who I am. And I think that's everywhere. Yeah, if you want to follow me personally, the Uncaged Creative, that's my Instagram. That's more of like my personal page where I post like dance videos and like funny stuff like that, and inspirational quotes and inspirational messages and things like that. So yeah.
Very cool. Very cool. Well, Jason, thank you so much for being here today. And guys out there, Kickstarter launches tomorrow. For us on the Eastern time zone, it'll be about 9 p.m. Eastern that Kickstarter launches. You're still awake then. Go ahead and back right away. Pledge day one, and you can get that cool Black Power Pack that he was talking about. That I can vouch for. There's tons of great creators in that Power Pack. So if you haven't dived into that genre yet, if you haven't supported any of those other creators, now's the great time because you can support Jason and get those other creators' books and kind of begin to get exposed to their universes. Um,
Yes.
Jason, thank you so much.
Thank you. This is so awesome. This is so fun. I really appreciate you having me on.
No problem, no problem. And again, guys, go follow, get notified on that launch tomorrow, and we will be back on Wednesday with another episode of Broadcast from the Dispatch, our live stream. It's Indie Comics Dispatch and Friends Night, so we're just going to be on talking indie comics. Nothing, no particular agenda or interview set up for that night, so it'll be just a fun time to sit back, laugh, and relax. Everybody out there, we will see you next time. Don't forget, if you want to continue to support Jason after after the Kickstarter launches, you can find him on Patreon. Also, search Lost Children of Andromeda there. Jason, thank you once again. Everybody out there, thank you for tuning in. Please like and share this video. Get Jason more exposure. Share it to the various indie comic groups out there. If you're watching this on Facebook, do that. If you're watching us on YouTube, subscribe and share the video from there also. Everybody out there, we'll see you next time.